Hi guys, how are you? Today, inshallah, we will study lesson 7 and 8, early cinema. This is just practice for what did we study in the previous lessons. By the end of the lesson, you will be able to read short texts about the history of cinema and use skimming, scanning, and summarizing to process and understand the information. Before we start, let me ask you these three questions. Do you like watching old films? Have you ever watched a film in black and white? Have you ever watched a silent film? So I need you to think of these three questions and I will get the answers from you later. Today we are going to read an article, a text about the history of early cinema, old cinema. Do you know anything about the old cinema? Did you read about it before? So today we are going to learn about this one. Let's have a look to the first paragraph here. In its first 30 years, cinema grew very quickly. It started in just a few big cities: New York, London, Paris, and Berlin, but soon became popular across the world, attracting more and more people and replacing other forms of entertainment. These large movie audiences needed places to see the films. So, the great picture places of the 1920s became more elegant and glamorous. Glamorous means that brightening, lightening, than theaters and opera houses. Meanwhile, films themselves went from being short spots, only a couple of minutes long, to the full-length feature that we know today. What else about the movie early cinema? So in this paragraph 1, we learned that early cinema started 30 years, New York, London, Paris, and Berlin. But after that, it becomes very popular, famous, and it's a form of entertainment, enjoyment. So it becomes the cinema more glamorous than the theater or opera house. It was before just couple minutes long, but now the film was full length. What else? Let's read more. Although some people think that the French, German, American, or British invented cinema, it was mainly the French who exported cinema to China, Japan, Latin America, and Russia. So, French is the responsible. French exported the cinema, the films to many countries like China, Japan, Latin America, and Russia, so that these countries could start an industry of their own in terms of artistic development. It was again the French, and the Americans who took the lead, though in the years prior to 1914. Italy, Denmark, and Russia also played a part. In the end, the United States became and remains the largest single market for films. The Americans started to dominate. Dominate means control. the world market by 1914. The center of filmmaking moved to Hollywood. American films dominate control was the most famous one and moved to Hollywood. And it's films from these new Hollywood studios that have filled the world's film markets since that time. Few film industries have come close to competing. The Italian, the Italian industry almost collapsed. It means that fall down, not become very famous. In Scandinavia, Swedish cinema had a brief period of success. So Scandinavia and Swedish become very successful in making film. But Italy, no, Italy becomes destroyed. But because its films were mainly about what happened in Sweden, their audience was limited. Even French cinema found itself in a difficult position. Hollywood took the lead artistically as well as industrially. Hollywood films were more popular because why? Why is this type of movie or this Hollywood was popular, famous? Why? Because they had better plots. Plots it means that story. Their special effects, special sound, lights were more impressive, and the star system means that the actors become become idols. None of this would have happened without technology. In the early years, this art form was quite basic. Early cinema programs were a mixture of comic sketches, comic it means that cartoon, brief and some animated films, with the Americans' first feature-length films. Other types of films became less important. Cartoons and newsreels became a separate branch of filmmaking, generally practiced outside the major studios and were usually shown as short items before the main feature. However, with Walt Disney, animated films went from just short clip to major full-length films. So we read now about the history of this cinema, early cinema. Now we need, after reading, answer some questions. So I need you to look at your book, page 27, course book, and let's answer the following questions. Number one, America was and still is the leader of the film industry. Which three possible reasons are given in the text? A. Plenty of money to pay for actors. B. Making films about serious issues. C. Being first to produce a feature film. D. Well-written stories. E. Collapse of Italy's films industry. F. Excellent special effects. We need now three possible reasons to show us that America was and still the leader of the film industry. Why? Yes, number one, being first to produce a feature film. America, the first to produce, to make a film. And well-written stories, the plot, it's a perfect, good. and excellent special effects. Excellent special effects. Special sound, special light. That's why America was and still is the leader of the film industry. Now, exercise 2. Let's answer the question using no more than 3 words. We need to use only 1, 2, or 3 words, but no more, to answer these questions. Number 1. Where did people go for entertainment before cinemas become popular? Theaters and opera houses. Which two types of film were not generally made in major studios? Cartoons and newsreels. These are two types of films were not made in studios. 3. Which type of film did America develop in both short and feature film? Animated films. Well done, guys. So let's move to the next activity. Number 3. We need to look at the following statements from 1 to 6 and the list of the countries. Okay, you have a list here of the countries, and you match each statement with the correct country. You may use any letter more than once. What are the countries on the list? France, Germany, USA, Denmark, Sweden, Japan, Soviet Union, Italy, Britain, China. We need now to complete the sentences with using name of the countries, and you can use it more than once. Number 1. It helped other countries develop their own films industry. Which one? Which country helped the other countries to develop the film? It's France, yes. France. France helped other. We said French at the first. It was the biggest producer of films. USA. USA was the biggest producer for films. Number 3. It was first to develop the feature film. Develop the feature film. It's also C. USA. 4. It was responsible for creating stars. Which country? Also America, USA. 5. It made movies based more on its own culture than outside influences. This is Sweden. So Sweden depends on its own culture to make the movie, not from outside influences, from their traditional and heritage. 6. It nearly stopped making films. Italy. Yes, Italy stopped making films. Perfect, guys. So let's go on. Now I'm going to show you a video about how can we
Reading
write
strategies.
a paragraph and what are
What
the
is a
parts
paragraph?
of paragraphs. So I need you please to
A paragraph is a group of sentences all connected to the main
what are
idea.
the parts of the paragraph.
The main idea is the main point of the author, the topic of the paragraph. A good paragraph must have 3 different types of sentences. Topic sentence, to state the main idea. Supporting sentences, to expand on the main idea. And concluding sentences, to restate the main idea. All the sentences in the paragraph must be connected to the topic sentence or main idea, as in the example. A good topic sentence on its own must give the reader a clear idea of the content of the paragraph. Now let's look at this example. Think about these questions. Number 1, which is the main idea of the paragraph? And number 2, are all the sentences related to the main idea? Let's read the paragraph. My husband and I bought our first house last November and we love it. It is located in West Provo near Utah Lake. Although we cannot see the lake from our house, we do have a beautiful view of Mount Timpanogos. Our house has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a living room and a family room, and a large kitchen and dining area. We also have a small backyard and a small garden. We are very happy to own our own home, and I hope that we will live there for several years. Now, how do we get the main idea of this paragraph? First of all, identify the topic sentence and the concluding sentence in the paragraph. In this way, you will not need to read everything. Just by focusing on the topic sentence and concluding sentence, you will know what the paragraph is about. In this case, the paragraph describes their house or their home. Step number 2 is to identify words that are connected. So in this case, we have first house, the lake, beautiful view, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a living room, a family room, a large kitchen, a dining area, a small backyard, a small garden, our home, and the verb live. All these words make us think that the topic of this paragraph will be the home or the house. So, if you want to get the main idea of a paragraph quickly, number 1, read the topic sentence, which is usually the first. Number 2, read the concluding sentence, which is usually the last one. And number 3, look for keywords. Now let's answer the second question. Are all the sentences related to the main idea? If we analyze the topic sentence and the concluding sentence, they both talk about their first home. If you analyzed every single sentence, which are part of the supporting ideas, you will realize that they are also connected. Remember, in a good paragraph, all the sentences must connect to the main idea. Read this second example. What happened? There was a sentence added to the previous paragraph. However, the topic sentence continues being the second sentence. This means the topic sentence is not always the first sentence. Read this third example. I live in a house in West Provo. I like the view from our house. We have lived there since November. We also have a car that I like very much. We were in an accident a few months ago. We hit a deer that was crossing the street at night. I felt sorry for the deer, but it cost a lot of money to repair the car. Think, is this a good paragraph? Definitely not. The topic sentence talks about their house in West Provo, but if you analyze the last sentence, it doesn't have a connection to a house or a home. Neither do the other sentences, the supporting ones. So this is definitely not a good paragraph. Here goes some tips for reading and understanding paragraphs. Number 1, good paragraphs are composed of a topic sentence, supporting sentences, and a concluding sentence. Number 2, the topic sentence contains the main idea. Number 3, all sentences must be about the topic sentence. And number 4, the topic sentence is not always the first sentence.
Okay, girls. So after watching this video, you can recognize that we have parts of the writing paragraph, topic sentence, details, and conclusion or a conclude sentence. Topic, it means that in the beginning, starting the paragraph, details the body inside the paragraph, and then finishing the paragraph by a concluding sentence. And all of them should be related to the main idea of the paragraph. What are you talking? So listen, the main idea. What's the main idea? It's the most important thought about the topic. What is it talking about? About detail. Detail is an important or specific piece of information. These can be facts or examples in a text that support the main idea. So when I say I don't like Bob, this is topic sentence. Bobs are very bad. It has a lot of sugar. It can destroy the teeth. So these are details. And these details support my idea, which is I hate Bobs. Why do you hate Bobs? Because of many reasons. So these reasons are details. Summarize. To make a summary of or state briefly. So this one is what? This one is summarizing the paragraph. What's the topic sentence? A sentence in a paragraph that expresses the main idea or point of the whole paragraph. This is topic sentence. It should be in the beginning, the first sentence, but not always. It can be the second sentence in the paragraph. What's a paragraph? It's a section of a piece of writing. A paragraph always begins on a new line and contains at least one sentence. Now, I need you to open your activity book, page 22. Here, girls, you have a paragraph, and we need to read it. So here, he gives you texts are generally divided into paragraphs. Each paragraph talks about one main idea. This can be found in a topic sentence at the beginning of the paragraph, or it may be summarized in the final sentence. So you can find the main idea where in the beginning of the paragraph, topic sentence, or in the final sentence. You can find the main idea. So we need now to read this paragraph below and choose the main idea. Is it A or B or C? In its first 30 years, cinema grew very quickly. It started in just a few big cities, New York, London, Paris, and Berlin, but soon became popular across the world, attracting more and more people and replacing other forms of entertainment. These large movie audiences need places to see the films, so the great picture places of the 1920s became more elegant and glamorous than theaters and opera houses. Meanwhile, Films themselves went from being short spots, only a couple of minutes long, to the full-length feature that we know today. We read this paragraph before about history of cinema. We need now to find out what's the main idea. What is it talking about? Yes, it is talking about the fast rise of cinema. B. How cinema becoming more and more famous and popular around the world. This is main idea. What is it talking about? So topic sentence here. In its, we need to find now the topic. Yes, we have topic sentence. Where is the topic sentence? We said it's in the first or in the second sentence of the paragraph. So the topic sentence, in its first 30 years, cinema grew very quickly. Cinema grew very quickly. Grew here, it means that becomes up more and more, famous and famous, like rise. So this is the topic sentence. Now, the same paragraph. We need to find details for this paragraph. Details mean more information to support the topic sentence. We said that cinema grew very quickly. Can you give me more details? How? How cinema grew very quickly? Started in a few big cities, soon became popular everywhere in the world. Great picture places of the 19th, 20th. It changed from short to full-length feature. So this is the detail about this supporting or topic sentence. We said that in the first 30 years, cinema grew very quickly. This is topic. Most important sentence. So, can you now support this idea? Can you give me details? Yes, started in just few big cities, becomes soon popular across the world, and the great picture places of 1920s, also it becomes to full-length feature. So what's a detail? Detail is an important or a specific piece of information. These can be facts or examples in the text supporting the main idea. So we need now to read the details again and to answer these three questions. Where did the first cinemas open? In a few big cities. 2. When did the first cinemas open? The time, 1920s. How long were the first films? Short. The first films were short. So these are details about the topic sentence. So here, girls, I have a summary. Summary. When you summarize a text, you must pick out the main ideas and then say them using fewer sentences. Take the main idea and use few, a less number of words. So we need to read this paragraph and then we are going to summarize it with few words. The United States became and remains the largest single market for films. The Americans started to dominate the world market by 1914. The center of filmmaking moved to Hollywood and its films from these new Hollywood studios that have filled the world's film markets since that time. Few film industries have come close to competing. The Italian industry almost collapsed. In Scandinavia, Swedish cinema had a brief period of success. But because of its films were mainly about what happened in Sweden, their audience was limited. Even French cinema found itself in the difficult position. So this is a paragraph. We need to summarize it to make it short by using few words, less words. So let's read this one and try to complete it. The USA has been the biggest film market since 1914. Most of the films in the world are made in Hollywood. There have been no other industries as big as the American. So this is a summary for the previous paragraph. The last exercise, we need to read this paragraph and find out if these statements are true or false, or there is no information in the paragraph, NI, no information. So let's read this one. Cinema would not exist today without technology. In the early years, this art form was quite basic. Early cinema programs were a mixture of comic sketches, brief episodes, and some animated films. With the Americans' first feature-length films, other types of films became less important. Cartoons and newsreels became a separate branch of film making, generally practiced outside the major studios and were usually shown as short items before the main feature. However, with Walt Disney, animated films went from just short clips to major full-length films. So we need now to find out if these statements are true or false or NI. No information. Number one, cinema was very complicated when it first started. Very complicated, very hard, very difficult when it first started. No, it's okay. It was not. Two, early animated film had sound. I didn't read about this one. No information in this paragraph about animated film sound. 3. Small studios usually made short films about news event. Yes, because they are small studios. So just use short films. 4. Walt Disney made full-length film. Yes, it's correctly. Okay. Thank you very much for following me. See you later, inshallah, next class. Bye.